So one of the problems we can solve using trigonometry is given a right triangle where we have the measure of one of the acute angles and the length of one of the sides, we can find the length of one of the other sides. That's going to be the task we tackle in this video. So what I want you to do is I want you to print out the worksheet that goes along with this lesson, and I want you to write down the following steps where I asked you to. All right, the first thing is you're going to write our 9 magic letters on the top of your paper, the same way we do every time we take a fresh sheet of paper where we're going to do some trig. We're going to create a diagram of the right triangle, especially if we're looking at this on a monitor. Okay, we want to be able to have a written thing right in front of us that we can mark up with our pencil or pen. On that triangle, we're going to label the side whose length we know and the angle we know in the diagram. The side we want to find, we're going to call that X. All right, so that's what we're going to solve for. The two sides that are marked up right now, we are also going to label whether they are the adjacent side, the opposite side, or the hypotenuse side relative to the angle that's labeled. And then, given those two choices of words that we chose, we're going to figure out the trig function from these that relate those two sides. Using that trig function, we're going to set up an equation that we can solve to find out what X is, and then we're just going to solve that equation using some basic algebra. So let's take a look at a sample problem. And as I say, make sure this is written down on your paper. If you think, oh, I took a picture of it. No, I want your hand actually doing some writing. That is a great way for this information to get to your brain. So let's say that we're trying to solve this problem. So we've got this right triangle here, and we've got this angle marked, and we've got this side marked, and they want us to find the length of FH. So I'm going to take my scrap sheet of paper, and I'm going to go through the steps that I asked you to go through. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mark up my diagram. Some old horse caught another horse taking oats away. All right, now I'm going to draw the triangle. That was a pretty awful straight side, but it's okay. I'm going to label the side I know. I'm going to label the angle that I know. And the last thing I do is FH is what they want me to find, which is this side up here. So I'm going to mark that with an X on my diagram. All right, now I can get rid of that sheet of paper. Now, with this as my marked angle, what are these sides? Are they the adjacent side, the opposite side, or the hypotenuse? Well, this 6 is the hypotenuse. I can tell because it's on the opposite side from the right angle. This X side, it's not the hypotenuse because we already found that. The opposite side would be over here. So this is the last one. This is the adjacent side. All right, so I've got adjacent and hypotenuse. Which one of the 3 trig functions relate adjacent and hypotenuse? Adjacent and hypotenuse are right here with C for cosine. So that's going to be the equation that I set up. And the equation is going to look like this. Cosine of 56 degrees is equal to what? Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So that's X over 6. So now all I need to do is to solve this equation for X. I'll tell you what, you can substitute in, you can stick cosine of 56 degrees into your calculator as the first thing and turn that into a decimal. But honestly, I like treating this as a number first, and I want to work on getting X by itself. So what do I need to do to get X by itself in this equation? Well, the problem with X being alone right now is that I'm dividing it by 6. So I need to do the opposite of dividing by 6 to get X by itself. And the opposite of dividing by 6 is multiplying by 6. So that means that X is equal to 6 times the cosine of 56 degrees. And I can just grab my calculator and automatically put in what that is. 6 times the cosine of 56 degrees is equal to 3.355157421. Let's take one more look at the problem that they asked us to solve. So they asked us to write our answer as an integer or as a decimal rounded to the nearest tenth. So this would be 3.3, except I don't know if I want to round up or down. Yep, I want to round up. So the answer, this is approximately 3.4. Okay, so that gives you an idea of how to go through the steps really easily in order to solve a right triangle for a missing side. In the next video, we're going to take a look at 2 more examples, except I'm going to want you to take the lead on that, and then you can check your work against mine.